Hey everyone, my name is Dean Ray and I'm a coach here at the Sales Gym. Today I want to talk with you a little bit about human psychology. Now, I've worked with thousands of salespeople over the years, and a couple different approaches have started to emerge whenever it comes to how people talk about the solution conversation. Now, the first approach is to talk with people and let them know here's exactly what we need to do to get this solution implemented, being very directive and letting them know what steps are coming and when, and then just get them to go along with that process. The other approach that we see, and this tends to be a little bit more successful, is asking for people's input whenever you're describing that go forward process. So instead of telling them, hey, we're going to go ahead and train these 10 engineers, you ask them, hey, so of these engineers we're going to be training, who's coming to mind that you think would be a good fit for this kind of a program? And why'd you select them specifically? So by changing up that dynamic, and instead of telling them very directively, we're going to do A, B, C, and D, and you don't have a choice in the matter, and instead saying, hey, whenever it comes to doing A, how should we go about doing it? What that does is it pulls the client into the decision-making process and makes them feel as if they're part of building out the solution that's going to be impacting their day-to-day lives. And you can think back in human psychology to when you were a kid. If you got brought on family trips or some kind of school trip, one of the things that you'll notice is if you feel like you had no input in the matter and it's not something you're necessarily excited about anyways, you may rebel a little bit internally because you feel like you're being forced to do something that you had no say in. Whereas if you had the chance to plan out elements of that trip or you got to provide your input on where the best place might be to go on that trip, then what you'll notice is more enthusiasm and more likely embrace from you as a person in those trips and in those situations. And that same psychological thing is happening in the business world, whether you know it or not. So make sure when you're talking with people, you're giving them the chance to provide input to you on how they envision the solution playing out and what their input might be on each step along the way to actually implement your product, service, or idea. By going through this process, what you're going to do is create a much more collaborative approach to decision making with the partner. And because you're making it more collaborative, you're going to notice they're going to be much more likely to actually embrace your ideas and move in the direction you think is advantageous.